Good evening to everyone present here. I hope all the participants are thoroughly enjoying the hackathon. We wish all the finalists all the best for their final pitches. Before we commence with the pitches, let us go through the judging criteria. The pitches will be judged on their originality, technology, presentation, business plan, and future scope. The teams will be invited to the stage one by one. Once the team is on the stage, the team members can share their screen and start their pitches. Each team will be allotted 5 minutes for their pitches. That is, 3 minutes for their demonstration or presentation and 2 minutes for a question answer session. So please make those 5 minutes count. I repeat, each team will have 5 minutes. The esteemed judges joining us today are Mr. Ravi Purohit. Mr. Purohit is a business and technology leader with more than 2 decades of IT industry experience of creating, nurturing, and leading global businesses and delivering quantum business impact, change, and innovation. We also have with us Mr. Vinoth Loganathan. Mr. Loganathan is currently a senior data scientist at PayPal and a graduate of the National Institute of Technology, Trichy. He has also worked in companies like IBM and Wipro. Next, and finally, we have Mr. Andrei. Mr. Andrei is a software engineer at SoftSwiss and has extensive experience in Ruby, Rails, PostgreSQL, and many other third party services. Also on the panel, we have our own ISTE board member, the Secretary of ISTE VIT, Aman Bhaiya. A very warm welcome to all present on the panel.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Varun.
Without any further ado, let's begin with the first team. Team 4G. I request Team 4G to join the stream.
So the teams I think will be joining shortly. So now I feel that it's been a great ride for every hacker out there, as well as for every person who has participated in this hackathon. 2 days of intense pressure, 2 days of intense work have accumulated to this day. Let's see what are the projects which are the different teams have put up, and I think all the judges are here. Yes, so I think Team 4G will be joining us shortly in a while. Meanwhile, the judges, if you have anything to say to the hackers, you can say your why. You can just go ahead and tell about if
Any
you have
advice for the
any
hackers?
advice for the hackers. Ravi sir, not sir, Andrei sir, if you want to say anything to our hackers.
All I would say is that continue with the idea. Don't drop it in here because there's some spark that ignited while doing this hackathon. So just don't do it for the hackathon, but take it up. It can emerge into something bigger that you might be thinking. So wish you all the best for that as well.
Sure.
Like from my side, like
Yes, sir.
I think usually hackathons are the way to learn things much faster. Like usually in what you would have learned in 6 months, you would have learned it in 2 days. So I think like if you keep this going on, then it will get you an opportunity to work in a real enterprise level in projects, and it will get you an idea on that. And also, as Ravi mentioned, like even you can continue with us into an enterprise, and you can, and given the scenario in India, like this is the right time to get started. So yeah, all the best.
Yeah. Thank you, Vinod sir. I mean, yes, a lot of you might have built different projects. Even I personally saw a lot of projects coming up. uh, we shortlisted the 15 best till now, and we had a lot of first hackers, a lot of first timers, and I mean various projects, like from ranging from education, like very basic projects but brilliant ideas, to very, you could say, very heavy tech stack based projects which are very new and very you could say very advanced in technology. So I mean it's been a fun ride. Even I, when I went through the projects, I also was surprised that even the people, even the even the people who are in class 12th have made something which I would have never thought of when I was their age. Or maybe the amount of exposure that they have got till now is really great, I would say, through any hackathon.
So, like, given like because of this tech space like booming like anything, like you get to do courses from top institutes like Ivy League, like you take Harvard. Every course is available. Like I started from Andrew Ng's machine learning course. I think everybody who's in this field like would
Yes,
have started from that point. That's the igniting point for everybody. So like, we are getting the best resource like anywhere you're there. It's coming to your
yes, sir.
doorstep. So yeah, definitely
So
great
the
time.
vast access to resources, I think the projects which we have seen, uh, GPT-3 to, I mean, in various domains, like
Yeah,
it's been really amazing being a part of this hackathon. And I also feel that when the teams come up and pitch their ideas, they do it as well as they did to us in the previous round.
sure.
Also, for the teams who are not in the top 15, I want to request you to please at least finish up your projects, because that would help you understand what is actually, what could you have actually done if you go on making another project, another similar project in the future, in any other hackathon. So that would eventually help you a lot in your career also, I mean, as a part of general learning also.
While we wait for the first team, it would be amazing if some of the participants can let us know in the chat their experience so far in this hackathon. I know for many of them it might be their first hackathon, so how are they finding it? The general experience, we would love to hear that.
Okay, I can see a lot of comments in the chat. uh, yes, all the best to the top 15 teams. And Andrew sir, also, would you like to say something to to all the hackers out there, because we had approximately 800 participants, while you will be only getting to see a few of them right now for the quizzes.
Aman, did you ask me?
Yes, sir. Like,
Please repeat the question.
uh, would you like to say anything to the hackers that have joined us today?
I don't know exactly. Yeah, good luck every team.
Still, but it's like anything to the hackers. Because I mean, they have put in their 48 hours. They have, like, maybe some of them would have woke up till midnight and then gone for building what they are going to present today. Okay, a lot of comments are coming now. I'm not selecting the top 15, but still, thank you for your suggestions. Thank you so much. Sure, you should go ahead and complete your project, and because what's more important is the spirit of learning than just winning prizes. And because the learning which you get from hackathon, I would say, is the most important. uh, I mean, I usually participate in hackathons whenever I get free time, and I will really recommend you to do so, because it's not important that you win or lose. It's more important that you should make connections, you should network, you should learn how to build uh, projects. You should learn how to work together as a team and combine your strengths and make something which is very, very, different from what other teams can do. Okay. And okay, I think team 4G is here. So
Hello, Team Fauji. Are we
yeah,
audible?
yes, yes. I think there's an issue
Hello.
with them. Yeah, I think they're joined.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah, you're audible, Team Fauji.
All right, now you guys can hear me.
Kindly switch on your cameras before we start with the pitches.
Team 4G, kindly switch on your cameras and join up.
Mm,
Hi, Team Fauji, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
I think there's some connection issue. Oh, you can hear me?
yeah, yeah.
What? There's a lot of delay.
If you can start with your presentation.
Yes, we are trying to start. We're just having
I
internet
will right
issues, so
now.
we're lagging a lot.
No problem,
That's
no
the
problem.
problem we're having. We're just uploading our PPT for the pitch.
हमारा T5 है। अबे सुन, इसका आ रहा है मेरे लैपटॉप से ठीक। मेरे लैपटॉप it's processing. Okay, it's done. I think. No. Share. Go to share. Go to slides. Go to make dry PPT. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not too
We
sure
can-
if
we
it's
can see
sharing.
your
Yeah.
screen.
Okay, it's sharing finally.
All right.
Before you start with the presentation, can we have a small introduction?
Right. So we are Team Fauji. The product we've made is Metra. This is our team, as you can see on the screen. So our team leader is Shivam Sharma. He was responsible for full stack development and UI and for the UI. I'm Achintya Gupta. I'm the product manager. I was majorly involved in ideation for the project and in product planning and marketing. I was also involved in the in generating the future roadmap for the product. Then we have Siddharth Dave, who was also a full stack developer. He was involved in bug testing and feature development. He also helped build our database. And finally we have Devansh Kuldeep Mishra, who was who is our content writer. He helped us write a lot of our FAQs and a lot of the paragraphs in the about us section. Now, so
सुन कैसे रहा है?
our product is Metra. So we were first inspired to build this product when we thought about how people these days lead very stressful lives. They have a lot of personal and professional commitments. So often they don't have time to focus on their health. So because of this, then because they're also battling diseases, they have to keep track of their meds. So that's what the point of our app is. It's called Metra. So it's a smart way to track medicines and so patients can upload their prescriptions from their doctor to the app, and then the app itself will send you reminders about when to take your medicines. That's not all the app does. The app also helps you identify whether the app also helps you identify whether there are there are any conflicts between your current prescription and your previous prescription. For example, that you have medicine A and you have medicine B, and if the two medicines together have an adverse effect, the app would alert you, and the app also alerts you when for example medicines have long term side effects. So the app alerts you to keep taking regular checkups. So this might not make the app unique in and of itself, but there are several unique features that are already there in the app and are planned for the app. So, for example, the the part about the part about warning about adverse effects for medicines, that is a unique feature. And also, we are also planning to add features such as doctor consultations in the app, and we're also planning to add uh, provisions to buy medicines through the app itself.
Hi, Team Fauji.
This is
Sorry to interrupt.
this is the core concept of our app.
Team Fauji, we only have another minute, so please start wrapping up on the presentation.
All right. And now we have
ये हेडसेट पहन लिए उससे कनेक्टेड कीजिए.
now we have Shivam Sharma, who is our technical lead for this app. He will take you through the technical details of the app itself.
Forgive us for the internet issues. Our hostel Wi-Fi is a little upset right now. Yeah. So may I start then? Yeah.
Yeah,
So basically, we have created a front-end app MedTrack using React.js, and we have used the Mern stack to implement the whole app. For the front end, we have used React, Tailwind CSS to style it, and React Router so that we can make it into a single-page application. We have used an email API, or you can say push notification, so that it can send reminders to patients for their daily reminders for taking medicine on time and etc. And for the backend, we have used MongoDB, Express.js, and Node.js. Code repository is hosted on GitHub. Also, the app itself is hosted on Netlify, so it is live right now. Also, the product management is just we have used Word document and stuff for that. As you can see, this is our home page. We have created this in both light and dark mode. We are using the Auth0 authentication API, so we can log in as a user using Google accounts. For example, if you have a Google account, you can log in, and then it will show your welcome user and stuff like that. It can also store user data like blood group, allergies, etc. through by storing information on the Auth0 user database. This is our my profile. Here we can see that the data has been stored, which our app is pulling from the Auth0 database. Here are our prescriptions. When the user clicks on my prescriptions on the front page, when you click on my prescriptions, the app will go to the prescriptions part, and it will load all the prescriptions that a user has. It can also show conflicting medicines in the prescription. For example, if something is conflicting, like a diabetes medicine is conflicting from another medicine, it will show that. It also has a send notifications part. If you press that, it will send you notifications at the time which you have to take the medicine. And as you can see, the user can also manually add prescriptions. Here is the add prescription part. They can also the I can also show you a live demo in a minute. Let me the notifications look like this. If you have successfully used push notification, it will show a success, and the bottom one is the reminder which we get after when we need to be reminded for a medicine. As give me a minute, I will share our live demo now. I'll stop sharing. I'll share my screen now. Just give me a minute, please. Yeah, just give me a minute. I'll share my window. Uh, can you see my window, please? No, wait, let me share my screen again. Share screen. Share. Oh. Can someone else share? Bro, can you share your screen? Just let me try to share my screen again. Window, can I share my window? It's showing some error. Give me a minute, please. Okay, am I sharing my screen right now? Is it sharing?
No, yeah, it's sharing.
Is it sharing now?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is our app MedTrack, which we have built using React. As you can see, if I press on the login page or even on the My Prescription page, the login shows that it's not authenticated right now. If I press the login page, we'll go to the Auth0 universal login. Here we can log in using a Google account. For example, I'm going to log in here. Just give me a minute. Yeah, I had already previously authenticated, so it was stored as a cookie. As you can see, it shows welcome Shivam now. I have been authenticated by the Auth0 API. If I press on welcome Shivam, it will go to the profile page. As you can see, it is a single page application made using React Router, so there is no reloading of the app. Here you can see information stored on the Auth0 database, like my email, my age, my doctor's name, blood group, and allergies if I have any allergies that a doctor can see. If I press, let me go back. Now, if you want, as you can
I'm
see,
sorry to interrupt, Team Fauji. Please
yes,
please try to wrap it up within the next minute, if it's possible.
yeah, I'll wrap it up in the next minute. Okay. So here are the My Prescriptions app. Here you can see we have all the prescriptions that I got from my doctor. As you can see, it also shows if there are any conflicting medicines in my prescription. I can also add a prescription manually here. As you can see, I can add the doctor name, date issued, medicine, etc. I can add a prescription here, which will send it to the backend. Also, we have the help, about, contact, and all. First, we also have a logout button, which if we press, it will log us out. And one more thing, the website was built using Tailwind CSS, so it is responsive. If you open in the mobile app, it will be responsive. And we have also created a dark mode as well. So as you can see, it's all also it changes according to the default system theme. As you can see, that will be all. You
Thank
want?
you, Team Shoji, for your demonstration and presentation. The floor is now open for questions.
Mm.
Judges,
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
the floor is now open for questions from the judges.
Okay.
Hey, hi, congrats team on completing this project. So from my
Thank
side,
you.
the question is around on the architecture part. Like you have chosen MERN stack, right? So the data is
Yes.
more on relational side, right? Why did you go for a document-based database instead of RDBMS?
uh, we wanted to store patient details and doctor details. Like for example, we wanted to store patient and his prescription details. So we used the MongoDBS to create a database and create a table with patient and his prescription with medicines in there. Also, we wanted to create a database, another table inside it with medicine and its conflicting, like what that medicine conflicts with. So we use that. We don't have a lot of experience with the MERN stack because this was the first time using it. So because I had experience with React, so I decided that our team could kind of try to use MERN stack.
Okay, because since you're handling more of a structured data, so the question was around like why did you choose Mongo over RDBMS? Is it mere you guys had an experience in Mongo, so you went with Mongo, or is it like
No,
anything?
that's we actually had we were very new and experienced. We weren't very experienced in backend. I am primarily I'm a front end developer. This was the first time for our team to try integrating a backend API to a front end. I wouldn't say the easiest, but I thought the MERN stack was the something which we could reach for, because since we already knew React and a little bit of Node.js, that's the only reason we used the MongoDBS. There
The
wasn't
question
another reason to it.
is not on like you using Node.js as a backend for an API serving. The question is more on like why are you choosing Mongo for data storing instead of an RDBMS? Like you could take there are a lot of open source PostgreSQL or any other databases like relational database. The question was more around that.
Uh, Once again, I'm really new to backend,
Okay, I got it. Sure, sure. Yeah,
so
and
I just knew about the MERN. I had heard about the MERN stack being a little bit popular, so that's the only reason that I used the MERN stack, because I heard it integrates a little bit better with React. That's the only reason I would say.
okay. And second thing is like you mentioned that your app is more on a you push notification to the end users to when to take a
Yes,
medicine, right? So do you like since most of the users are like the push notification works very well in the apps, whereas in the web it's not. Like the user has to be there when once only when he logs in, you will be pushing notification. So
yes, I
like
agree to it. Yes.
yeah,
Uh,
so is there a conflicting issue that you understand, right? Usually push
yeah, I
notification is very
understand. Yeah, the web page needs to be open for push notifications to work.
yeah. So do you
Since
see
we only
that?
had
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Since we had only 2 days. The best I could do was implement push notifications. We are in the future for MedTrack. We're going to implement email notifications, as well as when we create a mobile app, which we can do by using React Native. So it can be scale. It has scalability, which we can scale into a mobile app. Then we can use push notifications. Also, there is something like a progressive web app, PWA. We are thinking of using that as so that we can get better push notifications.
Yeah.
Also, we are thinking of implementing like the Twilio using WhatsApp note messages, which is very easy
That'll be
for
making
reminders.
more sense, right? Like either your progressive web app or your web desktop app. So it will not be that helpful in the case of like, since your ultimate use case is like reminding the patients to take medicine. So pushing via web or progressive web will not make sense for the end
Yes,
patients.
yes, we have thought for the main thing we had thought of implementing in the future was using WhatsApp messages to remind users by using an
Okay,
API. For example, the Twilio WhatsApp API, which you can use, you
got
can
it. Yeah.
send data to it and it'll remind users at a time. We're thinking of using that, but in the current time frame of two days, we weren't able to integrate it that well.
Okay, got it. Yeah, thanks. That's all from my side.
Who's the user of the system, Shivam? Who do you anticipate to be the user of the system, and what is the
Uh,
maximum benefit they can get out of this app?
yes, if I may, Achintya, would you like to
All
take this
right.
question?
So our target audience for the system itself is anyone who sort of has a busy life. So basically the point of the system is to make tracking your meds more convenient. So anyone who is taking a number of meds can use the system. So that is our target audience. So that's what it is, right? This app makes it more convenient for people who have a lot of personal and professional commitments. It makes it easier for them to track their meds. They don't have to keep manually setting alarms. They don't have to manually keep count of every single medicine they take. That's the target audience for the system.
How will system know that medicine was taken on time?
The system wouldn't. For now, we haven't implemented any way for the system itself to know that the
Uh,
medicine has been taken in
for the
time.
future, we are thinking of implementing a yes or no button to our either the push notifications and for the WhatsApp. For example, if we implement the WhatsApp message, like here, this is a reminder, did you take it? So the user can reply with a yes or no to the WhatsApp. So the bot can record in the database that yes, the user has taken. Thus, we can also track the medicine usage of the user. So that's the thing we will use to track the medicine usage.
Okay. And will this be sold by, directly to the patient? I mean, that's a little long-term plan, but is the audience directly the people who are consuming or the interim people like pharmacy or a doctor?
Sorry about that. Are we audible again?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes.
Sorry, we just had some issues with our hostel Wi-Fi. Right. So I was saying, in regards to our business model, what we were thinking was, so for now we were thinking of an ad-based business model itself. So what we would try to do is, again, as Shivam said, we plan to implement a yes or no button in the future to keep track of the meds, right? And then once our system realizes that there are meds running out, it will push ads towards similar meds for the patient itself, and that's how we plan to monetize this. Another thing we can do is, like, once we build a large enough user base in the future, we can partner up with medical companies to push their products on the app itself, for in a separate featured item section or a featured shop.
Okay. Okay. No other question right now.
I have one tech question, guys. Thank you for your presentation. And I have a question about where do you host the application, and it was difficult. Oh.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please? Were you talking
Uh,
about how did we host the application?
where did you host the application?
Yeah, so I uploaded my React application to GitHub, and just used Netlify to deploy it by connecting it to the GitHub repository. So it has been deployed on Netlify. So it's very easy to deploy on Netlify. I have even the previous projects that I've used. And for the Mongo DBMS, we had used something called Clever Computing. It had something of an MongoDB add-on, and I think the MongoDB database, I think, is hosted on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And did you write the tests and create a pipeline for continuous integration?
Uh,
That's
we had some problems. We ran into some problems integrating the front end with the back end. Like some fetch, we weren't at first we weren't able to fetch the data from the back end because there was some cross origin or cross origin error. Something was occurring. After that, we were able to set it up a little bit. We still aren't fully 100% sure if the API is API returns a correct response, but the API does work a little bit, even though we sometimes run into some errors.
mm-hmm. Thank you, guys.
That will be it, Team 4G. Thank you for your presentation and demonstration.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, judges. Now we'll be moving on to our next team. That is, if I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Team Los Polos Hermanos. Please join this team.
I'll share my screen. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait.
A gentle reminder to your team that you'll be having a total of 5 minutes for your pitch. A gentle reminder to your team that you'll be having 3 minutes for your demonstration or presentation and 2 minutes for the question answer session. We would request you to put more emphasis on the demonstration.
Uh, all right. Is my screen visible?
Your no, just a second. Yeah, it's visible.
All right. So we're Team Los Polos Hermanos. So we call our application CryptoClean. So so what's our team? I am Nisha Sinha, and I am a ML and backend developer.
Hi, I'm
I'm
Urvi
a,
Singhal. I'm the ML developer.
I'm Anuj Pariyar and I'm the backend dev.
Hi, I'm Mehul Rastogi and I'm a front-end developer.
So let me introduce the project. So why we decided, so what our project is and why we decided to make it. So in the recent years, cryptocurrencies have been skyrocketing here and there, and everyone wants to monopolize. It can be an individual for personal gain or an organization that just wants to invest in something that can lead to future gains. So everyone wants to monopolize on the cryptocurrency market right now. So what our application aims to do is make make it more user friendly to invest in crypto. Make it more user friendly, make it more easier to get into investing into cryptocurrencies, and making it simpler to understand. So what our project does is it uses LSTM neural networks, which is a long short-term memory-based neural network to predict cryptocurrency trends, and gives the users a simple output of the prediction. Basically, it tells them when to invest and when to not. And I'd like to pass it on to Uri.
Yeah. So at first, for the model, we tried using RMA and SARMA. Those are autoregressive integrated moving average and seasonal autoregressive integrated moving average, respectively, for making the model. But later, we decided to implement the bidirectional LSTM neural network as it gave us better results for a smaller data set. For the dataset, we used Yahoo Finance for getting the live data for 25 cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, and many others, for a duration of 1 year, as cryptocurrency trends are constantly fluctuating. So, for the deployment and such, I'll pass on to Nishcha.
So we use Streamlit to make our Python based ML model into a web application, and we, as of now, we have deployed it using ngrok, but eventually we will scale up to an actual server. I'd like to pass it on to Mehul.
Okay, so in terms of business strategy, we were considering implementing subscription-based service, as well as adding push notification and mail services if there is a chance of dip in the crypto, or when you could suggest people to buy into specific cryptocurrencies. So now to talk about future scope, we have Anuj.
Yeah, talking about future scope, since our model is completely dynamic, so in case of if any other new currency comes up in the future, our model will be able to predict data since nothing is hard coded and it does real time prediction based on the data provided to it. I will pass it on Mr. for now.
Right. So data processing, Uri will be explaining what exactly is happening behind all this.
We just downloaded the data set from the Yahoo Finance thing. We use values such as open and closing mainly for training the model. Then we made a this is an interactive graph on our site, which we'll show more in detail in the demo later. Can you shift to the next slide?
Show in a bit. So this is mhm.
So
So
this
this is
is the
one of the
prediction
prediction
graph for
graphs
our model.
that has been generated for Bitcoin. All right. So it has been generated for Bitcoin as of now. I'll share my web application with you. Yes. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. So CryptoClick, this is our application. This is a menu, drop-down menu to select one of our currencies. This is entirely dynamically made, so you can add any currencies if you want. For example, let's train a model on Solana for now. Solana is trending these days. So when we select Solana, it loads data for Solana and it fetches it live off of Yahoo Finance, and it's actually training the model. You can view the data that we've just downloaded here, and you can view like all the data points as and when you want, and you can choose like at what accuracy you want to see them in and what graph you want to see them. So this is essentially one of our features. So after the model is trained, it'll take a bit of time, like it'll take a little bit of time, because every model has to be trained according to the cryptocurrency, because not there are so many cryptocurrencies with different purposes, because there are stable coins, there are pseudo stable coins like Ethereum and Bitcoin. So we have to train our models for each and every single coin whenever it's inputted into our system. So this is actually training the model, like behind the scenes. So when the model is trained, this graph will light up.
Team,
So
I'm sorry to interrupt, but try to wrap up the demonstration within the next minute.
oh, all right, we'll be done with it. This is it. So this is essentially the prediction. So the blue line's actually the actual price, and the red line's is supposed to be the predicted price according to our model. This is a bit off, as we're using only as crypto is a bit hard to fine tune according to our model. And as we had 2 days, we didn't get enough time to fine tune it to that level, to that perfection. But we could make this better in the future. So as you can see, you can interact with the graph, you can check all data points, what the actual prices are. These prices are in USD on the left, and you can check it according to all the dates. You can scroll, and that's our application. Thank you.
Thank you, team, for your demonstration and presentation. Now the floor is open for questions. The judges.
To input the currency and develop the training model for it, but the user part of somebody who wants to trade in the currency, that part of the application is not yet developed. Is that
Oh
fair
no,
understanding?
no. So our application isn't a portal to buy cryptocurrency. Our application just suggests the user when to buy cryptocurrency. That's what we are focused on here. We want people to get into purchasing cryptocurrency, not become a cryptocurrency vendor itself ourselves.
No, I understood, but the UI that you have developed where somebody can input a currency and get the model done, but that is common across any user, right, who wants to be interested in that currency. So is that an
Yeah.
admin work that behind the scenes somebody has to do? And if I want to just know whether I should buy or not buy, I don't need to go through all this, selecting
Uh,
currency, creating a model, and
oh,
so on, right?
no. So basically, what you will have to do as a user, I'll explain what the user has to see. So essentially, as a user, you'll just, for example, if I'm a user and I hear that Solana is trending these days, right? I come home, I look at this website, I input Solana-USD, and my model just generates a report if I should buy it or not, and I have to decide after that. That's what our application is doing here.
It's giving you a
Like in
buy,
future,
no buy kind of decision.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's
in
it's
future, we are
it's
planning to
sim-
implement that. Like according to the model, it would predict the value and tell the user whether it is safe to buy or not. But we couldn't implement it during this duration. But we are planning on adding that part also.
Understood. So right now you focus on the modeling to get the model perfect
Yeah,
as
yeah.
much as you
the
can.
modeling and deployment part was the focus right now, and right now we are trying to like make it more user friendly and stuff at a later stage, and how it would be a easier interface and such for them as a user.
Okay. And as a principle, is cryptocurrency based on any fundamentals of the economy, or it is based on the past?
No, so that's why we didn't use the RMA or the SARMAX models that Ulri talked about, because RMA and SARMAX are currently used to follow stock patterns as of now. But with cryptocurrency, it is so turbulent, you cannot use a model that uses past data. That's why we used a long short-term memory-based neural network, which essentially remembers some fundamentals but remembers the latest things that happened at a higher hierarchy. Essentially,
Okay.
it makes the model according to that. Yep.
Also, our data set is a dynamic one, like it changes every day. We have taken for a duration of 1 year, starting from the day you are like running that model. So it changes constantly for that trends.
Okay. Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you.
Any further questions, judges?
No, I don't have.
I don't have any questions.
Thank you, team Los Polos Hermanos, for your presentation and demonstration. That'll be it.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, judges. Now we'll be moving on to the third team, Inno Hackers, requesting you to join the stream. So for those that still might be unaware, I would just like to brief you about the hackathon. Technica is a 48-hour hackathon that was occurring from the 20th May to the 22nd of May. We had so many teams with so many creative ideas and projects. And as mentioned before, it was such a tough job to streamline all these teams to just 15 teams. And honestly speaking, we were just blown away from the quality of the ideas and projects to some of the work done by some of the teams was just simply fantastic. And I know that these past 2 days might be a little crazy for some of you, but I hope it's been an equally enriching process for all of you because Hackathons like this give such a great opportunity to learn more and further your career. We'll be waiting for the team and they'll be joining shortly.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Is this
Yeah,
this is
actually,
team
I'm from
Gantai?
Team Gantai, not in Hackers.
Okay. Just a second. Okay, we have team Gantai with us, requesting the team members to join.
Hello.
Hello.
So yeah. So should I just share my screen right now?
Yeah.
Is it visible?
Just a second. No, it's not visible. Right.
Okay. So for the delay.
Yeah,
Is it visible
your
now?
screen. Before you start with your demonstration, can we get a small introduction?
Yeah. So I'm from Team Gantai, and my name is Sundam Kumar. I'm currently studying in class 12th right now. I'm aspiring to be a front-end developer. So basically, what I've built is a platform, is a website to make online exams secure. So this idea originated back when the pandemic started. All the schools were closed down, and basically we had to switch to the online mode of learning. So the idea of private tutors who come to your home and teach you has been existing from the day of Rabindranath Tagore, and only the privileged could access it. But platforms like Zoom and Google Meet allow students to incorporate this idea in the normal world, right? But ever since the offline mode started, the schools switched back to offline mode, and the reason is that even though getting education from your house, from the comforts of your home, is quite nice, but students are just human beings. They're fragile creatures. Whenever they get to choose the easy way out, they'll of course do so. So basically, whenever student gets to cheat in exams, they'll surely do so. The exams which are held through Google Forms or even through personal school websites, they'll do so, right? So basically, the aim of SafeFarm as a platform is to secure the test and make online learning a thing which is here to stay. I'm just telling you how the idea originated. So basically, this idea originated back when my school started to switch to offline exams, stating the reason that marks scored by the students in online mode are not reliable. And basically, I got the idea from this, that why not create a platform where the teacher doesn't have to worry whether the student will cheat or the marks he scores are legible or not. Basically, this idea. Basically, I created a platform known as SafeForm, which, as you can see here, is a platform based on HTML. I've used Bootstrap CSS to make it, and it is completely based on Vanilla JS. Hosted on GitHub, I've deployed it via Netlify. And as you can see here, there are quite a few features to using SafeForm. A SafeForm prevents cheating in Google Forms by securing with tabs in detection and terminating the student session once he or she crosses the click-off limit. So basically, here's a demo. Like when teachers share the Google Form link with the students, instead of that, he or she can just share the link of the website, the custom link of the website. So the students can just log in, So the sample which I'm showing you, right? This is just a completely based platform. Like whenever students enter his name, he get a screen like this. He clicks on got it, and the entire form opens in a full screen mode. As you can see here, there's a timer function and a read instruction function, which are completely customizable according to the teacher's option, teacher's liking. And basically, as you can see here, whenever I try to change a tab, I get a warn. So it is based on a three one system. Like whenever a student tries to change the tab or switches the platform, he or she will get a warn, right? And that basically ensures the student will not cheat. Then once on the form, as you can see, there's an read instructions map page here, right? This is the instruction page, has completely customizable, a full screen mode. So basically, the idea of implementing the full screen mode was that whenever humans are fragile, when they get the option to cheat, they'll cheat. When I open a form in full screen mode, as you can see here, that I'm not getting an add tab option here, which will prompt me to cheat in exams. Basically how this works is that this is an iframe which the teacher can share and this is quite convenient for the teacher as well. So basically my aim while creating this was that when the pandemic started, the ones who faced the most problem was the not so tech savvy teachers who uh, who uh, who were not so comfortable with using Zoom, Meet, and students have quite a lot. And Google Forms is a completely customizable form which more than 10 million teachers are using right now to conduct tests. So basically, what a student tends to do in a Google form is that he'll just select an option, what is the form of ASCII, and he just search Google for it, right? And this is where Safe Form comes in and gives him a warn. And basically, I can show you that even if I just switch to tabs, like I open a full screen tab, uh, it's quite loading, right? And basically, the session is terminated. So as you can see here, I'm storing this in the session storage of the form. So even if the student right now goes back to the form, he won't be able to do so. He goes to the original page, like this is the main page, uh, and he enters his name again, thinking that, oh my god, I'll just refill the form, right? That will also not possible because of storing it in session storage. Even if the student reloads the form, he won't be able to do so. He won't be able to fill the form. And basically, another feature problem which I feel in making this was that students, quite crafty students, used to disable JavaScript in the form, which usually disables the form from working. Basically, if I just disable JavaScript here, open a new tab, uh, as you can see here, that the JavaScript is blocked, right? So basically, the form will not open only with the use of Bootstrap, the CSS and JS, I was able to animate the whole form. Like whenever a student will load, the contents will not load. Even if I go to the form which was there originally, uh, basically I can see that JavaScript is enabled in the browser and the file can't be opened, enabled, and reloaded. I can't just click on any form because of this feature. And observing other features, I also got to know this in the time left of the form and basically other things. Basically, if I open the form again, sorry for that, if form again, and I just allow JavaScript in this file, open it again. This option is quite scalable because when I was searching through Google Forms, I found out that forms have a special feature known as add-ons, which is quite a few number of teachers are using to secure the forms. But no, this idea is so new that no add-on on the Google Marketplace is able to is able to even prevent cheating in exams. The max, as you can see, the downloads of some of these extensions are more than 10 million. So, which let me know the figure of that. Basically, if I search anti-cheat form, I don't get any options. This is a proctored form. Basically, there are other platforms like VBox, which uses the proctored system, and basically it requires manpower, paying salaries to the proctors, and other things. Since this is completely based on a script, there's no need of using proctors and other systems. And my plan in future building this platform is to add
Team
patient
Gantai,
recognition. Yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but requesting you to wrap up in the next minute.
yeah. I'm just explaining how the model will work. So basically, in the 2 days which I got, I was able to I was able to implement only the script here. And basically, the idea of scaling this will be to charge a small fee to teachers to secure a form. This is basically targeted at the institutions, well, small like local teachers, local tuitions, and even schools, based on the per day basis, per week basis, or per month basis. If a teacher wants to conduct a test today, he'll just choose this option. If a class wants to take an entire week for the test, we will choose this option. And for schools which conduct exams for the entire month, for the entire classes, they can choose this option. And basically, that's my idea of scaling this. Yeah, that's the basic idea.
Thank you, Team
When talking
Gantai,
about
for your thank you for your presentation. The floor is now open for questions.
Okay, this is not actually a question, but just can you brief me how and what did you cover from your first day and your journey to making this product? Like what you
so,
did
so
in the first day and how,
like
yeah.
yeah. So basically, at first, I implemented. I was searching through Google documentations to search for making add-ons. My first idea was to make an add-on, but then I encountered the problem that Google Form add-on script editor does not let you select the entire document and add event listeners to that. So that inspired me to make an entire platform of this, which can be based on service-based platform. So first I implemented the full screen feature, which was to just prevent distraction from the students. Second was a tab change, and I used quite a few friends of mine. I sent them the link of the site and asked them to see if they can cheat or not. So basically, what I found out that students were using that the students were just using disabling JavaScript, and that led me to add the option of disabling JavaScript, and that's how the basic form was created using Netlify as the.
Okay.
Sundaram, can you again
Yeah,
explain what is the technology stack you used?
yeah, it's a vanilla JS, vanilla JS and Bootstrap CSS to style it. And
Okay. And the actions that are happening are is there some plugin happening at the browser side, or is there something controlling from the server side?
Yeah, that's entirely based on the script. Like I didn't even listen to the entire documentation, and whenever there's a visibility change, I store it in the session storage. At first, I used local storage, but I found out that when a student used another platform, like if they wanted to conduct another test, they won't be able to do so because one session storage. So I prefer session storage for that. It adds a flag variable, like I just increment a flag variable, and when the flag variable adds to 3, I just terminate the session.
So the scripts are going along with your Google form, right? Like when the teacher is
Yeah,
sending the
the
Google
Google
form
form
link.
is an iframe. There's an iframe which I've used.
Understood. And it takes your script with you with the link
Yeah,
for the controls that you have implemented.
yeah.
What are the other possibilities of where can you use this?
Yeah, basically, most of the forms like schools are paying money to organizations to make a platform, a test-taking platform, but most of the schools don't implement this anti-cheat feature, right? So basically, even yeah, since the Google Form is an iframe, I can incorporate any website on any platform. Like if I use Vbox or some other platform, I can even add the script there and secure it via the help of SafeForm. And the other options which are using it in computer labs, well, the students, when most of the teachers, like when the lockdown started, teacher found out the easy way out of using Google Forms to check answer sheets instead of checking the subjective forms, which used to take them 2 hours. So basically, if an objective form is there, they'll just have to check the answer in 5 minutes. They get the entire score sheet of the entire class. So basically, I can use this in computer labs of schools so that they can in computer labs where the platform is.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Sundram.
Okay. Sundram, one quick question. So, what happens if I directly using the developer tool in the browser, if I clear the local storage? What happens to it in that case?
Yeah, since and another feature of the form was that it is extremely easy for features to use. All they have to do is disable auto save in the form. That's the only option they have to do in order to get the link. So basically, even if it's 20 marks paper, the students have answered 90 questions, and then decide to cheat. Or since autosave is off, they'll just be redirected to the session termination page, and when they get back to the answering page, all the progress which they have made so far will be cleared. And the timer feature is there to time forms exactly. Like I won't give a 15 marks paper 1 hour to solve the paper, 1 hour to the students.
No,
Uh,
my question was more on like if the user if I'm taking an exam, let's take if I'm taking an exam using the web developer tools, I'm deleting the local variable what you have. So in the local variable, local storage variable in the browser is where you're keeping the count, right?
yeah.
If I delete that, what happens?
uh, like in the 2 days which I got, I can use React.js to make it a backend to incorporate a backend there. So that can be a future problem. Like I can incorporate a backend where whenever a student tries to change the tabs, I can store the variable in the backend using React or some or a database. So they can't like that in the 2 days which I got, I was able to.
Okay. So even instead of like sending it back, will that be making sense? More sense like send a notification directly to the teacher, like there is a tab switch, like whoever is in
Yeah,
this
yeah,
layer, just
yeah.
show
That can
most of
also be a thing.
yeah. So given this current implementation, the users can delete the local storage, right? So you might in the future you might use a backend service to keep a track and
Yeah.
store it in a persistent. Okay, makes
Yeah.
sense.
Any further questions, judges?
Nothing from us.
No, I haven't.
Sorry, I'm mute. Sorry, actually, I'm muted. I can't hear you what you're saying.
You are on mute, so you're not. You are on mute, so just unmute yourself.
Hello, team Gantai. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. That'll be all for your presentation. Thank you.
Yes.
Now on to our next team, Team Katz. Hello, Team Katz. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So just to brief you before you start with your pitches, you'll be having 3 minutes for your presentation or demonstration, and then 2 minutes for a question answer session.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, I think we can start with the presentation now.
Yeah. Can
I
we have a
can.
small introduction before you start with your pitch?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so our name is Team Katz, and our team members are me, Anirudh Mishra. I'm the front-end dev. Sayar Bhattacharya, he's also a front-end dev alongside me. Sankhayan Bhattacharya, he's the back-end and blockchain dev for the team. And Tanushri Madan, she's the designer. And I think we'll just start with the presentation with the title slide and all. I'll explain more.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
All right. So our product's name is Pharma True, protecting you. I'm moving on to the next slide. All right. So medicines fall under essential commodities, and it's very important that pharmacies deliver the correct medicine, which is verified by licensed professionals for the well-being of patients. However, there are a lot of fake and counterfeit medicines and drugs in the marketplace today, which can cause grave damage to end users, that is, patients, on a massive scale. In fact, the global scale of counterfeit drugs can range up to 200 billion US dollars per year. So that's the problem that we're trying to solve with our product, our solution, which is essentially a blockchain-based application which would ensure the validity and genuineness of a drug throughout the supply chain, from the manufacturer to the distributor, to other distributors, to pharmacists, to the end user, that is us, the patients. Yeah, the next slide.
I'm on the next slide. Solution.
Yeah, we'll just move on to the next slide.
Oh.
All right, so why did we use blockchain for our application? Blockchains are one of the most secure forms of technologies that we currently have. Since everything is decentralized in a blockchain, there is no trust factor that we need to put in third parties or middlemen in centralized. That is common in more centralized style apps. And finally, blockchains enable apps to be more transparent. Okay, so how does our product work? Every batch of drugs which is manufactured by the manufacturer will have a unique ID assigned to them, which will be stored on the blockchain by the manufacturer. This unique ID can then be verified by the distributor, the pharmacist, and anybody else in between. And finally, the end user, the patient. Each of these batches will be a smart contract on the blockchain, on the EVM. And as the batch progresses through the supply chain, transactions will be added. For example, when the batch reaches a distributor, a transaction will be added when he checks it to verify it and to put his own stamp on it, so as to say. Right. So our business plan is pretty simple. We can take donation from pharma companies or shipping companies so that we promote them in some way if their supply chain records are good. We can also collaborate with governments for funds in order to ensure proper shipping and delivery of life-saving drugs. So future scope. We will add verification of user profiles to ensure that only certified manufacturers or professionals can sign up and validate supply chains. We will also add a system in order to keep different supply chains separate so that a patient is only able to access products relevant to them. Because right now, if a patient signs up, he can see all sorts of medicines. And we can also look into establishing some sort of physical presence, of course, keeping in mind the cost being inflicted on the end user if we do go down this route, in order to further lower the risk of corruption or invalid transaction in the supply chain. Our tech stack is as follows. We've used Hedera as a blockchain core of our project. The front end is powered by Next.js, and we have used Solidity as is standard for making the smart contract to store the different batches of medicines. Yep, thank you. That's the website app which Sankhayan will be showing you, will be demoing right now.
Yeah. So this is our website, which you can go by scanning on that QR code, and we have an about us and other things here. And currently we use MetaMask for login. So clicking on this will open the MetaMask window, and it will also prompt you just in case you don't have MetaMask installed on your browser. So I will click on next and click on connect, and then it will ask for registration, which will take a first name, Shankhayan, and by default patient is selected. Other The manufacturer, distributor, and pharmacies, they currently can be selected. However, in future we will be adding in proper verification so that not everyone can select any of these. So upon clicking on submit, so we are taken into this dashboard from where we can check like any batch. So currently our blockchain has a batch of medicine called Zofer. So if I click on check, it will show that this it will show the unique ID, the name of the medicine or the batch, and it will also show like on the supply chain who has already verified it. So we can see that the manufacturer has already verified, and the distributor has verified, and the pharmacist has also verified. So we can click on the verify button to verify as the patient.
Yeah, I think we just need to reload it once to get the changes to show up. Yeah. And just search for Zofa again.
Yeah, so now it shows like all of them have been verified. Now, for the tech part, our you can check our GitHub at github.com Anirudh Gray, Technica team Katz. There are 3 parts.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Team Cats, but requesting you to wrap it up within the next minute.
Yeah, sure. Like it has 3 parts containing the blockchain app and the API, which can be seen by anyone who wants to visit. And this is like the Figma file where we have all the production app that we will be implementing in the future.
Yeah, I think we'll show them the registration page that we couldn't implement right now.
Yeah, so this is the registration page that we weren't able
No,
to
I think
completely
just
implement.
zoom out a bit. I think
Yeah.
Towards the right.
towards the right, just a bit towards the right.
Right.
All right, never mind. I think we'll just show them the contract and on the GitHub.
Yeah, so the contract can also be viewed on here on the header hash scan. And this will contain all the transactions and other stuff. Anirudh. Anirudh?
Yeah, I think that's it from us. I think that's we'll just wrap up the presentation now.
Thank you, Team Cats. Now the floor will be open for questions.
Okay. The first question is like, how are you connecting your physical ID to your blockchain wherever you have your ID? I can duplicate the same ID, right? For example, you have your batch ID. To counterfeit the product, I could have the 10 medicines with the same counterfeit ID, batch ID, and I could send it across 10 other medicine store.
Yeah, well, it will in the future, like we haven't currently implemented it. In the future, each of the batches will have a unique ID, and that will be securely transmitted through either perhaps SMS, or we can also add in a dashboard inside our website where all the manufacturers and the distributors can see what will be the unique ID, and they can confirm with it.
No, the clear problem of counterfeiting is actually at the end point, right, where the user is buying the medicine. It's not not in the upper in the it's not in the upper part of the chain, like where the manufacturer or distributor, right? The core problem is at the end user. So at the end user store, yeah, any other medical store could buy with the same batch ID. They could buy the manufacture those medicines and sell it at that step, right? So the counterfeit is actually happening at the end point of that supply chain.
Yeah, for that we will have some sort of physical presence, either our own supply chains or our own distributors, and perhaps also our own pharmacies, where we will be verifying that only the authentic ones are being sold.
No, how are you fixing that? That's the problem. So you're saying that you're going to fix it, right? But how are you going to fix it? Okay, I'll leave it. And second question is like, do you expect everybody to have a MetaMask to log in and check it? Because as an given like the level of technicality required to have your private hash stored and all those technicality involved, even for people coming from like tech background, even we are a little bit, I would say like, uh, we are a bit scared about using MetaMask. We are paying so much attention to do that, right? For even for a simple task of checking the originality of the medicine, should I get into this?
Yes, absolutely. You do need to install MetaMask. It's and it'll be pretty easy. If you don't have MetaMask installed, the website will prompt you to install MetaMask from this particular link. It'll direct you to the link, and it'll direct you to the whole process about installing MetaMask. It's a bit of a
Why not
necessity
just
if you want
provide
to.
us an end API like where now we are doing like checking for all the, like for example if you buy a product from Sony, where you go to the site and you could just you could give that ID and check the originality of the product, right? Why do I need to get into a MetaMask and then I have to use a blockchain based approach to
That's because all the information here is secured with the blockchain, as in it's a DApp. So for the DApp, you end up needing a virtual Ethereum wallet.
Okay.
So which can be MetaMask or something else, but you'll need something or the
The
other.
idea of blockchain comes in when there is no trust, right? Primarily, there is no trust. But here, all the players are actually established and like we have regulatory, which have a stringent this thing around all these players, and they're very trust. There's a high trust factor playing in, right? Even then, why should I go?
So there's obviously a trust factor, but the statistic still remains that there is up to 200 billion US dollars worth of counterfeit and fake drugs in the market. So there's obviously still a problem which needs to be fixed. I mean, I'm sure. There's maybe it's obviously a different market compared to the Sony example that you gave. The Sony example and the pharmaceuticals example, they're different markets, but the risk factor is still there, which can be fixed. There's room for improvement.
But is the blockchain is the only way to is the blockchain is the right stack for getting it resolved? That's the question around.
I think it is, because right now it's pretty new. For example, I had no idea about how this worked until 2 weeks ago. So, and even like a few years ago, literally no one had any idea. So I think it's becoming more and more mainstream as time goes by. Even the average internet user will end up having, some other wallet installed on the computer. It'll be like Google Chrome. Everyone has Google Chrome. Everyone will have a MetaMask wallet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's all from my side.
Only one question. What do people use today to, if you're an end user, what do they use today to check whether medicine is fake or not fake?
There is, as far as we know, like there is currently no concrete way of checking if medicine is authentic or not. It all depends on the trust of the end user on the pharmacy, or the pharmacy on the distributor that they use.
There's obviously more manual ways. For example, they could take them to labs and get the actual medicine physically tested, but there's no clean and cut, easy to use, easy to handle way for the end user, for an average Joe out there.
And is there information available on the medicine, the foil, which they can use to enter into some system to check whether it is valid?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your question?
Or batch ID, medicine ID, or is there any identification on the medicine that you buy? Not the actual tablet, but the actual the foil in which the tablet is put. Is there some information available?
The actual medicine will have a unique ID.
So is there any system available today where they can plug in that ID and check whether the medicine is valid?
Yeah, that's currently what our app does.
But there's no other app which does it today. Is that what you're saying?
There's definitely no other integrated app which does it for all medicines across all chains. Like some company might have their own portal for their things, or some particular pharmaceutical shop might have their own portal for verifying or checking this, but there's no integrated thing as far as we know.
Okay. All right. Thank you. No other questions.
No further questions, judges?
Yeah, thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Team Katz. Now we'll be moving on to our next team, Team Coding Snipers. Requesting you to join the stream.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Will the rest of your team members be joining, or are you a solo
Yeah,
participant?
no. One more participant, one more
Oh,
teammate is going to join.
Hello, am I visible?
yeah, yes.
Okay,
Just a reminder, you'll be having 3 minutes for your presentation and demonstration, and 2 minutes for the question answer session.
okay,
You can
sure.
start with your presentation. Before that, please a small introduction about your team and the team members.
Okay, so hello everybody. Our team name is Coding Snipers. The members are me and Jay. So we worked on a project called as Eyes Detector. This project basically aims at telling vaguely, like about 75%, if the person is having a myopic eye or a hypermetropic eye.
Excuse
So
me, are you
this
sharing
now,
your screen? I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you sharing your screen?
no, I'm not sharing my screen. So should I share my screen?
Yeah, please share your screen.
Okay, one sec. So is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So we are the Coding Snipers team, and we took a project in the domain of healthcare. So in this domain, we work on the project of Eyes Detector. Now, this project basically aims at telling if the person, by looking at a couple of factors, telling if the person has a myopic eye or a hypermetropic eye. Now, what are those factors? Why will this work? Uh, when we researched a bit about what is myopia, what is hypermetropia, we looked at many factors like, these XYZ factors. If you have these factors, then you are most probably to have myopia. Or if you have these ABC factors, you are sure to have like hypermetropia. But those factors seem to be very complicated. So we looked at the simple factors. The simpler factors were like blinking frequency and the eye pupil size. So we took those factors and we have done a project based upon those factors. So I'm reading my slide. This is based upon scanning the face, particularly the eyes, checking the blinking frequency of the person and the radii of the eyes to find whether the person is or most likely to be myopic or hypermetropic. Now, why does this work? Whether a person is myopic or hypermetropic is decided by various factors, but we as students are picking up a couple of those factors to vaguely up to 75% identify if the person is myopic or hypermetropic. The concept is simple. It's based upon blinking frequency and size. Now, what I mean by blinking frequency? Now, in this project, we aim to like compare a blinking frequency like of a myopic person with a person who has a perfect eyesight. Now we are setting a timer of like 1-2 minutes, and then we observe that the person having the myopic eye, how much times does he or she blink, and how much time does the person with the perfect eye blinks. If there is a huge difference, then we can say like up to 90% the person is myopic or hypermetropic. Talking about the size, the myopic eye has a greater size than the ideal eye size, the pupil size, and the hypermetropic eye has a smaller size than the ideal size. So in this project, our technical requirements were Python. So in Python, which was my work, I used OpenCV to detect the face and to count the number of blinks I have done. So my contribution was I had to make a video. I had to like download a video from Google of a person blinking their eyes and then use that video to count the number of blinks that person has made. And JS part was JS, CSS, and HTML. So we used so Jay has made a website, but unfortunately we couldn't deploy our Python project to our website. It was because of some time factor, and also I got sick in the middle of the project. So yeah, that was it.
Any questions? The panel is open for the floor is open for any questions.
So what is your vision, Jay and Mridul? Are you envisaging somebody to look at the computer and then you're detecting the myopia or retromyopia?
So our vision is primarily, make people aware of their disease beforehand if anything happens. Like I have myopia, so I got to know this very late because, like at the early stages of my time, I thought that if I saw something very blurry, I thought it was normal for me. But when I compared other people's eyesight, and when I compared, like, if you can see that text or that particular text on the building, and I could not see that, then I realized I have some problem in my eye, and then I had to pay money to buy these specs. So I realized this, like after so much of time. But our aim is to make this thing feasible, to make people aware of their disease so that they can take actions beforehand, because eyes, like, they cover 80% of, like, they are the most important among all the senses in the body. And if you don't have perfect eyes, then you won't be able to do much work and grow in life. Yeah.
Yeah, I understood that part. That's a very good initiative. But from detection point of view, are you detecting using a computer that where you keep your video on and look at it? How I missed that part of your presentation.
No, our plan is actually to take the video and that recorded video, and that would be analyzed by the ML model. Like it isn't live or something.
Somebody has to record somebody's
Yeah,
video, and that
yeah.
will be fed to
First,
the
Yeah, yeah,
system,
yes,
and it'll tell you whether you have it or not.
yes.
yeah.
Okay, just some food for thought. It is not that getting glasses is very unique. It has been there for centuries now, right? So there are like multiple alternative mechanisms by which people detect, right? So for you, that will be a kind of path for resistance, not to dissuade you, but it is, if your thing is very simple, and at best it will be a pre-detection, right? Because after you detect, they will go to some proper place to check whether I really have myopia or myopia, and they'll consult a proper doctor. So this is going to give a
Yes,
early indication at best, right?
yes, sir.
And will be used for something. And then once it is used, and that user is not going to come back to you again, because already he knows now that I have myopia. I don't need to do it one more time. I know my number or whatever corrections I need to do. So it's a one-time user. So you need to really focus on how do you create a viral effect of your application so that it becomes so easy to use that the purpose is a pre-detection before it is before anybody comes and tells you, right? So just think of that part a little bit more clearly.
Sir, actually, our aim was not till up to myopia and hypermetropia. We were aiming like up to glaucoma and cataract, because we were planning to work on like how to identify the color of the eye. Like in cataract, we some people have foggy eyes. So if you look at that person, you can directly tell that person has cataract, and he needs to do something about that. So our aim, like for now, it is myopia and hypermetropia, but in the future we might want work on this project again and detect some other eye diseases which exist and which are like really bad for the people.
I understood. I think it's a good idea, but for any detection to happen, somebody has to feed you a video feed, right? Which is something that is an effort on behalf of somebody who's going to trust your model, right? So one, model has to be known to everybody so that they can send. Second, they need to take that effort to send that model. It is not that there is a camera at front of your house door, or in front of your laptop, or in front of your machine, or a kitchen for somebody who's at home or cooking, that it keeps checking on you and keeps telling you that this is something that you're developing. So the adoption might be a challenge for you, is what I'm saying, because it is currently a replacement tool for other means of detecting the same thing. And these diseases are getting detected. So unless you have a very simple, non-intrusive way of detecting without user having to do something, uh, It is an effort on the user side, and they will only send you video when they suspect that something is wrong with it.
Sir, in normal cases, people do actually go to the eye care centers and then they wear those specs and then they have to read those letters. So that's a lot amount of work. Like you have to literally spend like 20 minutes just to identify that you have a problem. Your eyesight is not 6 by 6. But in our case, we're making it less time consuming and more feasible. So we have that aim in our minds and then we work upon this project.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Any further questions, judges?
Nothing from us.
So shall I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you, team Coding Snipers. That'll be all. All the best for the results.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, let's move on to the next team. Team Sahayata, please join this team.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Cool. So, wait a second.
Just a reminder that you'll be having 3 minutes for your presentation and demonstration and 2 minutes for a question answer session.
Right. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yeah,
hello.
your screen is visible.
Okay, cool. So good evening. We are Team Sahayata, and I'm Vaibhav, and today I'll be guiding you around the whole project and what exactly is the inspiration and why we are making it and how we're gonna implement it. So before moving on, I'm just gonna give a brief intro what our project is. So yes, it's named Sahayata. It's a digital payment solution that intends to digitize the whole SHG payment concept. So coming to SHG, we have heard this word a lot of times. What exactly is SHG? It's a self-help group. So the inspiration behind it was also very very basic. Like we were coming across some articles, we were reading that SHG is very successful in some states like Odisha and all, and then the intuition of researching like how is SHG being implemented in our country. So then coming across how it's being implemented, how actually people are meeting offline, and talking about the transactions and all the system which is existing, current status quo. So then we thought maybe we could actually make it digitized and make it more efficient. So coming to that, we first thought what SHG is. Well, as I explained, SHG is a short group of 10-20 women. When they come in and they actually given some money to pool, so when they actually need money in the future, maybe there's a financial assistance, maybe there's a marriage or something, they can actually take the money from there. So it's also mandated by RBI. So the whole system is actually overlooked by the system, and they get the loans in a very lower interest rate. So that is all about SHG. So how are we gonna come in and help them? So the problem we thought is because the whole system is offline, there is a lack of resources, of course, because the whole records are being kept in papers, right? So it's not a safe mode of actually keeping the records because they can go anywhere in the future. And also the main issue being the form of power being centralized. What I mean by this is the people who are literate is very less in a rural area, right? So one woman actually takes the initiative of opening a self-help group, and then a lot of people who don't have that much knowledge follows that woman, and it becomes like a system where the woman says anything and the other people have to follow because they don't know exactly what's going on. And because of the existing system where the group leader or the SHG leader goes in and deposits the money in the bank, the whole system of everyone having an equal say or the whole system being accountable or the transparency thing completely goes away. So that's where we dive in, and we were planning to actually digitize the SHG platforms, so by the use of a mobile phone or a desktop or a website, so that it has the potential to solve these problems. Now coming to addressing these challenges, like I said before, we had two aims in our mind because we are creating a SHG platform. One is taking out the paper records, so actually keeping financial information in a digital transactions, and the next thing is actually enabling the transactions also through our platform. Well, the second one is very much out of scope right now, but we are also planning to do that. So the first thing we are very much concentrating on is actually keeping the records of the users. Like the users can add their details, they can create SHG groups, they can join SHG groups, and the whole system of managing these people. That is what we are trying to achieve here. And the next thing, of course, as I said, in the future updates, we can actually integrate the transaction systems also. So the now coming to the advantages of the system which I'm talking about, yes, of course, as I said, accountability increases, the transparency increases, because it is an online platform. The people have an equal say. They know exactly what they're doing. They are not following a person blindly, and they have not kept all the money and all the faith on one person, right? Because there's an app, there's a whole structure to that. So that is what we are trying to achieve, so that each and every woman has equal say in that. And also one more thing we are trying to add to this platform is having chat sessions where people or women from different rural areas can come in
Team
and discuss on
Sahatya,
topics, right? Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but if there's any demonstration, we would like
Yeah,
to
yeah,
see
cool.
it
We'll
now.
be moving on to the demonstration. Yes, we'll be moving on to the demonstration. So the next thing comes in, like, what is the thing we are doing different, right? So as I said, the we are removing the SHG group leader part because we are making the whole system decentralized. And how are we going to achieve it? We are making a system where each person can join in and give them money, and we are being the bank who are taking money from each of these groups and actually giving them the credit. And we are actually deciding the credit limit based on the money we are getting from the groups. So we are putting a very reasonable amount of money which we think we can easily retrieve, or which we think we can easily be given by the people, right? So the very first thing which gets removed from here is that middleman and that centralization of power, because every woman has an equal power right now, and they can equally share money, or deposit money, transact money, and everything happens through the system. So this is the framework we are proposing, and I'll move on to the demonstration just after this. So coming to the business plan, yes, of course, well, we thought, because it's a very NGO oriented project, first we need to grow faith among the users. We need to actually increase our user base so that users actually use this app. And once this becomes a very very big app, like where we have a lot of user base, then we can take in some small interest compared to the current banks, because the current banks are still charging interest rates. So initially we are planning to make it completely free. It's like interest free, and basically we'll move on to slowly to the financial things, like adding some interest rates, adding some transaction charges and all. So this is all we are planning to do in the future, and that is how the whole business plan would work, because we could get extra money from there. So I will just move on to the implementation part. Well, this is the whole website we were actually planning, and this is a prototype. So once the user comes in, she like clicks on the join now, then there's a login system, then the user logs in, and then we could see there are like four basic components above, like self-help groups, about us, events, contact us. Like these are very much about what the self-help groups are about. And we'll have some stories of the days to inspire women, like how SHGs has helped them, or how there are some inspirational stories. And there's a new section, and this is a section where we actually show the stats, like why Sahayata is being a Sahayata for SHG group, how is that helping these people. And then of course the contactors and the footer. And now let's move on to the main part of the SHG groups. Well, this is how it works. A woman comes in, she searches for the SHG based on the filters. There are like occupation, location, money available, income. We have taken these factors based on many articles, research articles, like on basis of whom actually SHG groups are created. So income, location, these are the very basic things. So now moving on to the location, we see like they're based on income, they're based on location. And now we move on to the first SHG group which we see. So these are the things a user would see, and based on that she could actually join SHG, and then based on that she can actually make a transaction. And the amount and everything she has to put in, withdraw, deposit, she has two options, she can do either of that. So after that, the user of course like has joined the SHG group. The next USP of our product, the main USP of our product, is actually the user can create a self-help group. As I said before, a user can create a self-help group, but he does not get the whole centralization of power, because the app is in our control and we are going to control the money. So a user can actually create a self-help group. She can go to the create self-help group, and these are the details, the required details which the user has to put in for creating a self-help group. Then yes, kudos, yes, you have your SHG already being made. And once the request is being sent, the other person who wants to join has to accept it, so that an SHG is created. And that's how we are trying to bridge in many different rural areas, and not only being limited to a short range of areas. So this is the
Excuse me.
whole idea of the project.
Sorry to interrupt, but kindly wrap up as soon as possible.
Yeah. So this is now I will tell Akajit to go to other parts of the implementation. Yeah, Akajit, please.
Right. So till now we were seeing the front end and the prototype of the front end, right? So we also have a back end to the project, right? And this is very, very important because we are storing the records, we are storing the transactions and all. So let me just go with the share screens. Yeah. So let me just demonstrate the whole backend part in this project, right? Because it is really important. Like Webhub demonstrated all the things like create SSG and searching the SSG and all. But how is that functioning in the heart of the system that comes from the backend, right? So here, this whole thing has been developed in Python with the framework of Fast API. So you can see a lot of the routes are there like sign up, create SSG, search SSG, and join SSG. Let me also take you through the the backend, that is the database. We are using we are using MongoDB for our database, where we have three collections. First one is the SSG collection. You can see SSG collection is basically having the information about each SSG. So we right now in our database we have three SSGs. You can see the information like who is the admin, so admin phone number, which is a unique number to the admin, and the people who are basically associated with the SSG. They're just the member. All those things are being stored here. Then the name of the SSG, location, and all. Now, if somebody is doing some transaction through the SSG, they can do it using this transaction one. So all the transaction and the records are basically stored in this transaction collection, right? So if we want to show any kind of a table in the future, and like what all transaction was done by this group or certain lady, then we can just write a few lines of query, and it'll be like very easy for us to manage. Then obviously the user details, like whoever is logging into the system, as Webov showed that we have a logging feature through Google and all. So all the information, the authentication with the passwords and all will be saved in this database. So right, that's all in the backend part. Yeah, we can move on to the question and answer round.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, the floor is open for questions. Judges?
See, if I understand correctly, your end users are actually the rural area women whom you're targeting,
Yes, sir.
right?
Right.
So do we
Right.
expect you to be tech savvy around like coming to the portal and registering or making those transactions?
So yes, sir. For that, actually, initially we will be having some digital camps, because this is a platform which is going to help government also to expand their programs. There are a lot of SSG
Yeah,
programs which they want to
I
actually
understand.
implement.
I understand the use benefits, but is it really usable by the end user? See, there are
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So because like we are in a age where people are using smartphones and websites and all these kind of
Right.
things, a lot of
Right.
people are getting exposure because of the digital India programs and all. Rural areas are also getting a lot of exposure to all these kind of
Right.
gadgets, right?
Right.
And
Right.
once we are actually able to implement these kind of idea, government will actually push this to the rural areas, because this is helping them also. Their plans are also getting implemented through our platform, and our benefits are also getting implemented there. So it's kind of a win-win situation for both of us. And
Right.
as a user, as of course you're saying, it's a rural person, right? So the digital literacy and the financial literacy which we are expecting is not up to the mark. So that is what we have to do. We have to make it very usable in the very initial phase, so that the user gets in. And we'll have some digital camps in the villages, where people will be said how to actually go through the whole process, because they only have to put in the details, and once they get accustomed to the system, it's very easy for them to actually guide in the future, right? So it's our responsibility and the
Yeah.
responsibility of the awareness programs to actually educate the rural people to get used to it. Because once we will be able to tell them the advantages, then they can actually get into the system and actually learn. And we are just
Yeah.
having this positive approach that they should learn, and they will learn, right? Because it's beneficial for them. And yeah, that is the
I'll
whole
put forward
idea.
one argument, Web, of like to the same thing. Like 10 years down from this time, like let us just talk about 2012. Who knew that everybody will be having internet? Like back down to 2012 and 13, it was so costly to have internet. We used to have 2G. Now internet is everywhere. Everyone is having a phone. Everyone is like phone is everywhere. After Geo came in, phone is everywhere. I mean the smartphones. So these things which are actually very manual will be becoming digital in a span of some years. Obviously, right now, if I'm just talking that today it won't happen, but in a span of 5 years, definitely, right? So at some point or the other, this has to go digital, right? The financial literacy, the digitizing of the whole SHG thing, which is very manual now, will be going digitized at some point or the other in the future. That is what our vision is.
And
Okay.
as like this kind of system has already been implemented through Aadhaar and all, right? So the same kind of camps can be created for these programs also, which are actually beneficial for the government programs. So yeah, that's how we think it could work.
Okay. And why they should choose you instead of like post office? So post office is one another approach. Like they could be a central point and they could manage these such a groups, right? Like how you are saying, like so since post office has been in terms of trust and also in terms of governance, is much better than a private payer running it, right? Like why should they
So
Yeah.
choose
well,
you?
post office. So the same things for the post offices, of course, the digitization of the whole process becomes tough for them to manage for the in the first place, because we are actually having this idea of creating a credit system for ourselves. Like we'll be taking in money from the people and we will be assigning the credits, and all that system gets completely removed, because again the government comes in and like the it manages the whole interest rates and it manages everything. So like it's the same current system which is SHG having, because like there's a group leader, she goes and deposits all the money to the bank, and RBI has has its SHG rules, of course, but it still takes interest rates. So what we are planning to do is actually remove that barrier initially, so that women also will get motivated to actually get in like to deposit the money, because it's completely interest free in the start. And initially, once we gain a user base, and of course India would be uplifted from the poverty which is compared to the status quo, right? So at that time maybe we could include few charges or few interest rates still compared lesser than the banks. So if we are again having this what to say, the postal systems, again the interest rates and same system gets in. So we are just trying to avoid that, so that's why we are
Yeah.
actually trying to make a digital platform.
Also, if you have looked to our business model is something which we are trying to do decentralized. Like if you're getting some money from the self-help group, let's say 20,000 from 10 women, right? So they'll be giving us 20,000, and from our side we'll be giving some credit to them. Now they can withdraw a good amount of loan, right? This builds a trust, and this even gives them the understanding of what how the credit thing happens. So we can even if they are getting to know all this, they'll be getting to know about the CIBIL and the credit score. So in future, if they are improving their credit score and all, so they'll be easily getting good loans at low interest rate also. So
Yes,
that is the
that is
whole
also one
concept
of
here.
our so that is also one of our objectives. Like in the future, maybe they will be in a position where they can actually use credit cards and all, but they don't know how to actually manage that. They don't know about credit and all. So what we are trying to do is actually literate them through this platform. Also, we'll be having sections where they'll have some videos and demonstrations from the experts, where they can know what SHG is, how a credit system works, and how the whole system is. It will help them in for an all-round development, I would say.
Okay, thanks. That's all from
Yes,
my
sir.
side.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any further questions, judges?
No, no question from my side.
Actually, so can I ask you a question, sir? So because I've seen like you both are from the management background, so basically when we are trying to get a NGO type of project, where we are actually targeting people to help, but still we want to make some profit out of it, or still we want to make it profitable in some way. So what kind of approach you actually suggest, so that we can actually think in both the ways, where we are not being very much business minded and we are still delivering what we are trying to achieve?
Right.
Like what kind of approach is required for that?
I think we can have a little detailed answer later in interest of time, but what I would suggest is don't mix the two, focus on what you want to do, and profit will come later. At least it will cover your cost, right? And
Yes,
profit
sir.
will come if you and focus on implementation part of the process, not just the technology part.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
sir, thank you,
So
sir.
to
Thank you
add
for
on
that.
to that, right, like you can have a look at kiva.org. So what they're doing is they're actually doing a crowdsourcing, and then they're trying to, like how you have SOG groups, right, like different SOG groups. So they are actually trying to crowdsource from people who are like wanted to support a particular initiative in mind, so particular
Okay,
area or
yes.
a particular problem. What they, SHG group has a different purpose, right? and also a different
Yes.
background of people. So there might be people who are interested in crowdsourcing those things, where they can, instead of you lending out, they might be lending out, but since they are focused on a purpose, they might do it at a lesser charge. So at both sides, they're getting benefit. We are enabling them. So that is an way to look for.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for
Thank
this.
you for your insight, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Means a lot. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Team Sahitya, that'll be all. Thank you for your
Thank
presentation
you.
and demonstration.
Thank you.
Now we have come to an end to the review for the first 6 teams. On behalf of ISTE VIT, we would like to thank Mr. Loganathan, Mr. Andrei, and Mr. Purohit for gracing the hackathon. The event would not have been possible without your guidance and vision. Thank you for taking out the time and effort to review the projects. The second review will be starting at 7:15 p.m., so please stay tuned. All the best to all the finalists.